And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. This is JPO Jordan Person's back again here on Kayfabe Corner. It is my privilege to announce this week's guest, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, everyone's favorite anti-hero. It's Johnny Rudo, everybody. Johnny, how you been, buddy?
Good, man. What's going on? Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. So literally, how are you been, man? We're at a weird time here. I know I think it's been a while since you've wrestled. I know I just did my first shows for the first time since March. How you doing, literally, physically, emotionally? How you handling everything?
It sucks. And anybody in this business who tells you that it's not affecting them, well, that they're lying to themselves. I would love nothing more than to be able to be out in front of the fans, out in front of people. But we're just not at that point right now. And hopefully we'll be getting the green light sooner rather than later. We'll be able to start picking things back up. That'd be nice.
Absolutely, I think when that time comes, man, I think everyone's itching for it, and when that time comes, and luckily has for some here, things slowly, atomic, a little bit, other things have been happening. So good luck to those that are doing stuff. Stay safe, stay smart, and hopefully little by
Always.
little we're getting there, man. 2021, who knows? Let's start off though with the origin of you, man. Even before wrestling, where does wrestling start in your life? Were you a fan? Where does wrestling first come in contact with Johnny?
I'm originally from Salem, Mass. I moved to Sarasota, Florida at a really young age. I always spent my summers here. And my father and my grandfather took me to Robarts to see my first wrestling match when I was 3. So that's like crazy how certain things will always stick out to you. And when my family made the move here and we started living in Florida full time, that's sort of when I became even more enthralled with wrestling, because it was just something about it. Because I was always that kid that got picked on, and looked at like a dweeb and a loser because, oh, well, you like wrestling, oh, well, you like Power Rangers and stuff like that, and I'm just like, yeah, I guess so.
Well, in that case, let me ask this: what's your favorite Power Ranger?
Oh, the Green Ranger all day.
That is the correct answer. So, uh,
Yes, awesome.
as far as wrestling though, who was the main dude? Who was the one guy that stood out more than anyone? Who were you really kind of like drawn to?
I really like the Great Muda. I've always been a fan of how Muda works, how he moves. There was just something special about him. And that didn't take away from any of the other people at the time, because when I was watching, like, Muda was still in the NWA and he was doing a couple of things for WCW, swapping out the TV title. And that was a great feud. Him and Steve Austin were going at it, and that was cool to watch. So I've always been a fan of the outcast wrestlers who just look like completely different than anything else. I'm just like, what is the Ninja Kid doing? I like the Ninja guy. He's awesome.
They stand out absolutely. So, where does the first thought of getting into wrestling begin? When do you begin? How old are you? What's the origin of now you as a wrestler?
Um, Back when I was like 18, 19, I got hooked up, or correction, mixed up with a guy named Brett Wayne Sawyer. He was the brother of Buzz Sawyer. And and I was just looking one day because I'm just like, I really want to do this, but I don't know where the hell to go. So I looked up, I think back then it was like in like the AOL days. And he had done like a small piece in one of the what's now known as like online news. So I reached out to him and I said, look, I don't know if you're taking people. I don't even know how to get into this. I just know I want to do it. I mean, I've clowned around with my friends in the yard, but I think everybody's done that at least one point in time in their life, because, that's what friends do. And so he had me meet him, excuse me, um, at 275 in the I-4 junction. And he picked me up in his car and we went to a place in Zephyr Hills called Joe Bob's Sports Bar. And God, man, was I scared as hell. I didn't know anything about anything. He worked me like a government mule. And like, I didn't know nothing. He said, here, you need to give me $50 right now. I said, I'm okay. He goes, yeah, I'm going to go buy you a ref shirt. We need a ref for tonight. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. He said, oh, you'll be fine. It's just like on TV. You'll be okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Man, did I get my ass beat by Bones the Cutthroat. That's when I met Donnie York and Donnie And Danny, I think, was the other York. And God, they were like, "You really don't know shit, do you?" I said, "No, I've got literally, when people say I've got 5 minutes in it, I had 5 minutes in it. No more, no less." So after that, I decided to go get, like really trained and things of that nature. So I had, and that was really cool because they kind of bounced me around a lot. Like I went to Chris Lindsay's place for a few because some friends of mine, like Ethan, uh, he was actually the one who brought me in to do it the right way. I mean, I've known Ethan, God, since I was 16, and I'm past 35 now, so you can do the math on that one. And we just had like it was the most amazing thing on the planet because it just drained me like physically, mentally. Probably within the first 2 weeks of getting my ass beat by Lindsay's kid Roderick, that the man on TV. Like I really didn't think I could do it. I'm like, nah, nope. But I kept coming back. And so he got hooked up, and then like he actually got me hooked up with Christopher Daniels, and that was like at like a really weird point in time because at that time him and Eric Stevens were getting really close, and I've known Eric because he lived in Sarasota. He went to Riverview. I went to Riverview. He knows well then at the time would have been my wife, but and it's just really cool to see how things kind of turn around full scale. Like it's sad, like he didn't really do more than what he could, but I know that he wanted to do other things, but him and I talk all the time. So that was cool. So got trained in so on and so forth, and I've done all the things everybody cuts promos about. I've driven 16 hours for a handshake and $10. Shit. Me and Justin Michaels drove all the way to North Carolina for a handshake and bragging rights. We've done all that. That was crazy.
So, of course, anyone that's an old school Johnny Rudo fan like I knows you weren't always Johnny Rudo.
Yeah, nah.
As Deacon Star. What happened to Deacon Star?
I blame Zach, honestly.
Really?
Well, it's like I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do the Deacon. I wanted to do something different with the Deacon Star character, but I wanted to come up with something fresh and new. And at the time, I was doing the radio, A Villain's Gospel, and I basically got bored of everybody doing like the same stuff. So I came up with the Johnny Christ character. And nobody would book me as Johnny Christ. They're like, no, we can't book that. So I'm just like, all right. And one of the things that always stuck out to me was like my Lucha Libre training from Super Colo. So I'm like, dude, like, let's go with Johnny Rudo. Like that's typical, but it's different. So I think I came up to you and I'm just like, all right, yeah, I'm going to go by Johnny Rudo now.
Yeah, that was the transition. I was like, all right. Well, I always love the origins of names. So let's begin back to Deacon Star. Why Deacon? Why Star?
The original name that I was going to go with when I, like, right after I got done training, I moved to Davenport, Iowa. Don't ask me because I don't know. And I got hooked up with a seamstress, and they're like, so what do you want to call yourself? So my original name was actually going to be Casanova Fly. That was going to be the first of Deacon Star, but that didn't work out too well. So
now I gotta know why Casanova Fly. Where did that come from?
That was because I was in the Mark of the Quad Cities, and I was working for this college station, and all they would play is like old school hip hop. And that was like that, like, because like I transitioned through music a lot. So I was in my hip hop phase, and now I've found that balance. And I was listening to the Sugar Hill Gang, and it's that second verse that he's like, it's like the CASAOV, the rest is FLY. And I'm just like, yo, that's Casanova Fly. Like, I can dig that. and it was just going to be this obnoxious pimp-looking person, but not like Godfather pimp, but like Malibu's Most Wanted pimp. I think Ethan helped me come up with like the star part of it. That the deacon part, like I think I was watching like Blade or something, and I'm just like, that's such an interesting name, Deacon. It's like that you don't really hear about that. So that's how I came up with Deacon Star. And about that time, that's when Florida Pro Wrestling was getting ready to become a thing shortly after the Omega Pro Wrestling days. So a lot of stuff.
So we got a little bit of the. Well, first of all, can I book Casanova Fly? Because now I'm very interested.
I wouldn't even know how to do it now. I'm just like, man, like that's like cool.
So wait, well, what made the change to Deacon? Why did Casanova die?
Just because like I thought it was overly gimmicky at a time where I probably should have known better, and it's like I just had this natural aura to just be a prick or just look like a prick. So like the funniest Deacon is trying to be nice guy Deacon. Like he doesn't know what to do. I don't know what to do now. But it's like I checked into Marty Jannetty mode like every time, like the double clapping, yeah, love me. And it's like, no.
I thought you were going to tell me your first time 13 years ago when you said Marty Jannetty. But
that's a rough one, man. That's rough. I dig it though. I like that. That's clever.
So and then finally, last for the name origins. Why Johnny?
I've never met a Johnny that just wasn't a dick. Like every Johnny I know is just some sort of an asshole, and it's also a great homage to my grandfather, who taught me everything I know. He is clearly like he is the most influential person of my life, and his name is Jonathan. So I'm just like Johnny. Like Johnny's cool, and I'm a huge Cobra Kai mark. So what can I say?
You look forward to season 3?
Hell yeah! Oh my, what? I was Team Cobra Kai during the YouTube days. Oh, I knew that was going to be an instant success. I'm like, oh man, that's great. Even if nobody else likes it, I like it.
Yeah, very much. I'm a late bloomer. I waited till Netflix. I didn't see the YouTube Red or whatever it was.
Have you watched both of them?
Oh yeah, I went through it pretty quickly once it was on Netflix. Yeah.
It's good. It's awesome. I can't help it. It's just it's so good.
So, any stories from the OPW to the NEW to any good stuff that comes to mind from your early days there?
I have to tell this story just because we were talking about it on Saturday. Like I've known Justin Michaels almost as long as I've known Ethan Carnage.
Has he always had those pants?
Yes, he came out of the gate with that, and like the funniest thing was when Florida Pro Wrestling started up. Like Justin lived in the same town. I think he was even living with me at the time, and he's always been a wrestling fan because his great grandfather was into pro wrestling, and his great grandfather was a wrestler for the NWA, and so he decided that he was going to try to get his name out there by being a manager, and he starts picking fights with everybody. He called Bob Cook a glorified popcorn sweeper, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And it's like he's ripping on all the vets, and finally, like one show, I'll never forget it, man. Navy SEAL comes pulling on up, man, driving as fast like he stole something, and he had to ditch the car. And he comes on up, and I'm like, "Hey, SEAL." He's like, "This ain't got nothing to do with you. Where's your boy?" I'm like, "Shit." I'm like, "Justin." Oh man, Justin was so worried at the moment, and I was worried for him. but like that was probably like the funniest thing looking back on it now, because we didn't know how the heck it was gonna turn out, and Justin was just trying to get noticed, and he got noticed all right, the bad type of noticed.
I mean, he lived to tell the tale, so good for him.
Oh, absolutely. And there's another time when Preston Kane and I, for those of you who don't know, I tagged with Preston Kane for a while, and that was a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoyed being a part of First Degree. Like, that was good times. And we went across to Port St. Lucie, and that was when the late great Nathan Vane was still around. And like, Nathan would always find a way to get like people pissed at him, but then when you try to confront him, like, he just had this way about him where you're just like, man, I can't even get upset. And he was working Aaron Epic. Yeah, if that name's A still around or B allowed to be said anymore. And throwing everything all across it, and it was the same show that Goldust was on. So me and Goldie, we're sitting there talking about the best punches in the business. And he's a huge Bobby Eaton mark, which I am too. You know, awesome bunch. And Ever starts throwing stuff, all this other stuff, and he's saying about every 4-letter word you could possibly think of. And Nathan comes running back, dude, what happened? And freaking Epic goes like that, and he goes, man, I can't even be mad at you. And I'm like, you just did all that for nothing? I'm like, well, good for you. But then again, like that, I was reckless. Like, it was a 3-hour car ride, one way. When we got there, we wanted to see some action aside from what we were causing in the ring.
CWE?
Yeah. Yeah, we were 2-time tag team champions, Preston and I.
Very nice. What are some other titles you've had? You've had some NEW titles, some FPW titles.
Yeah. I was the first Suncoast champion for FPW. My first tag team partner, the great Kendrick, if that's what he's going by now, him and I were the WCWO tag team champions in Indianapolis, Indiana. We did that one. And we didn't, we were supposed to capture, was some knockoff brand of like the NWA, but they paid the money to have the title of NWA Presents. It's like Indianapolis Mid-South or something crazy like that, which that's all in its own. Because I'm like, wait a minute, Indianapolis is in the Midwest. It's not even in the Mid-South. And I'm like, you know what? Geographics don't matter. And we ended up winning, but then like we get a post when a couple of days later saying that we had cheated and all this other stuff. I'm like, what the hell? I was one-time Thunder Valley champion, but I beat Bobo Brazil Jr., the great Calypso Jim from USWA, if you guys know your wrestling history. Awesome, fun match on that one. Good times there. As far as Florida goes, I was the New Era Wrestling's last heavyweight champion.
You killed the company, Deacon. That was you. I knew it.
It was me, apparently. I mean, I can't really stake claim to the real pro tag team champions because that's sort of like that was like a Freebird rule. So I mean, and Zach had a match the same night, and what do you know? The night Draven tags with me is the night he gets injured. It's crazy. But no kidding. I'm sure there's more. I just can't think of them off the top of my head.
You were also the NEW Florida State champion, weren't you?
I was. Me and Romeo had it seemed like a good 8 months worth of matches.
Yeah, you guys went back. Yeah, he mentioned that too, I think, on the show.
Yeah, that I haven't achieved any singles gold yet at Real, but all good things.
You were in line for a shot once we get back. It might be 2021, but once we get back, if we ever have a show again, I believe you're up
absolutely
soon. So,
oh yeah, I mean, I'm kind of selective as to where I like to work, and Real is definitely a place that I enjoy working because it's just a real chilled atmosphere. And with Real, like I've done things like Fighting for a Cure. I did all of them except for the one that it was the same night as the Mayweather McGregor fight, and yeah, I wasn't missing that one. But myself and Robbie Cook, Bob Cook's kid, traded the heavyweight title a couple times, and then before it became the Fighting for a Cure title, the great Rex Backus ended up beating me at his last show in Sarasota a couple years ago, and then when they introduced the Fighting for a Cure title, there was a 4-way. Me, George Rodriguez, American Superstar, and David Mercury. And I ended up getting lucky, I suppose, and winning that one. So I guess technically I'm the reigning and defending Fighting for a Cure champion. Makes sense.
that's a perfect belt to have, man. You only got to defend it once a year.
Once a year. That's it. And COVID robbed me of this year. I'm like, that's all I have to do, man. I just got to show up one time.
Well, yeah, but if you're on the bright side, that means you at least have a 2-year, 3-year run because next year you'll have to be a year in. So,
yeah,
it looks like you had an epic, Bruno Sammartino like run.
That's a great point. It's a good point. Yeah, that's true.
Going back to the matches, man. What are some of the favorite matches you've had? Who have you clicked up with and really enjoyed your experiences with?
I had a lot of fun with wrestling Zach the couple times that I did. Like, as somebody who's watched that kid, go from being a Jeff Hardy knockoff into something all of his own. Like, I had a lot of fun with him. I had a lot of fun with the American Superstar, believe it or not. I know he kind of gets kind of a weird sort of reputation for some reason, but that was a fun angle. We did something where, like, I brought his kid into the ring, and that was like before everybody started doing it, and I ended up like beating his kid with a freaking belt and just like and it was just good times, man, because like it really meant something.
That's just a funny transition for me. I'm sorry. Just beating his kid with a belt. Good times.
Oh yeah. I have always enjoyed working with Nick Abrams. I like Nick. He's a freaking good kid. I mean, he's basically what you would envision somebody at his level to do. Kind of chied in and stuff. The most difficult person to work with, I would definitely have to say, for somebody who's who doesn't talk, he seems to talk an awful lot, is Charlie Abernathy. I've never, and I don't care how anybody takes this, I've never seen a deaf person talk so much shit. Like, that's what he does. And I'm like, how? Like, I get it, but, and maybe I've been hanging out with him too long, because when he starts doing it, like, I understand him completely. And I'm like, asshole. But that's been like the most difficult.
What's some of your favorite locker rooms promotions to be a part of?
I really liked the vintage locker room back in the day with Simon Says. That was that was just good times. Like Simon always welcomed me and treated me as an equal. A lot of them boys did. Obviously, Real is obviously going to be my favorite. I mean, just because of all of the fun. But the CWE locker room was actually pretty good too, because I mean, we just didn't have anything but time. So when you have that much time and you arrive at shows that early and you've got nothing but time, it's like you got to make the best of time's wasted moments, I suppose.
What are some of your dream matches here that you've seen where you've seen someone you're like, oh, I would love to hook up with them? Who are you itching to get in the ring with?
I would have loved to have gotten into the ring with Matt Stone. Just because, like, he has that British, that like Johnny Saint style influence, and I'm a huge Johnny Saint fan. So I really enjoy what he does. I would have like I'm so like decently like out of the loop because of everything that's going on. It's like I would have loved to have had a match with Eric Stevens. That would have been fun. You know, two local boys.
He's not done yet.
Nah, he's done.
No, he's back.
He's back for a third time? Like, I know he was back for a little while.
No, he just wrestled this weekend.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
More you know. I may have to reach out to him. But it's like I just want to have like good matches. Like, I mean, yeah, it's nothing against, you know, the up and comers, you know, but it's like I'm a firm believer in this sport. You only get better by going up against people that are better than you.
But if everyone fought someone that was better than them, no one would have someone to fight.
Well, that's true.
Well, speaking of up and comers here, let's do some role playing. After a show, you know, a new kid walks up to you and he says, you know, I'm just starting out. Do you have any advice? What kind of advice to give someone just starting out?
Shut up and ask how you can help. That you're never going to get, like, school will get you the tools. But until you're there and you're showing up early and you're setting up the ring and you're helping promote if it's something in your city, it's like you'll never truly appreciate it. Nobody does this business to get paid lots and lots of money. If you think you're going to get paid millions of dollars on the independent scene, well, you see where you have to go to make that happen. Like, people do this because they love it and they love this sport and they love like what it does. And I probably want to venture to say that we all hope to give somebody else the type of feelings we had watching it.
I like that. I like that last little sentiment there. Where do you personally see yourself in about 5 years?
Hopefully, I mean, probably just maintaining what I have. I mean, I've done a lot since COVID. Like, I've bought in a house and I still do my side hustle on the side because I enjoy it and I'm all right at it. So I continue to do it. But once this whole COVID thing gets out of the way, I'm gonna be putting in some serious effort to get on out there, and may have to suck it up for a little bit. But once I get the reels underneath the belt, well, then I'll be able to have a bunch of stuff to send out to people, and then I can start getting some serious stuff moving.
Any plugs or anything you want to give? Anywhere people can reach you if you want them
to? You can reach me on Facebook at facebook.com/Johnny Rudo. Twitter. Yeah, I'm still at Johnny Rudo at Twitter, I think. You guys can check out my clothing line because I'm always releasing new stuff, and I always do stuff for a lot of the boys, your local wrestlers. So at /Truly Evil, one word, and trulyevil.com. Just don't lose hope on the independents yet, ladies and gentlemen. Like, keep going to these shows, because although we'll give 100%, if there's just 5 people, we'll imagine how much more we're willing to give if more people show up. Like, of course it's got limits, but yeah, I mean, shout out to you for having me. Shout out to Real Pro. Shout out to my brother Zach, my brother Draven, and our other brother Ethan. And shout out to the Marks, man, because without you, we wouldn't be here. And we were all there once ourselves. So shit.
Any parting words, Mr. Rudo?
Treat people sensible. Be good to people, man. Like, we are in real volatile times. If I cannot tell you that you are wrong, then you're not my equal. If I cannot tell you you are wrong, I must not be your equal. You fix that, and we'll fix some problems. I didn't go too deep on you, did I?
No. I wanted to see if you had any more. I enjoyed it very much, though. Very much.
I mean, just sometimes the best piece of advice for everybody is to take the good that came before us and know that we may not have always lived up to our potential. You may not have always lived up to your potential, but the core has always been there, and you can always turn it around. And that's the beautiful thing about life in general. That's all.
Absolutely, 100%, man. It was a pleasure talking to you, good sir. Hopefully,
Pleasure, man.
I can see that face sometime soon here in the real world. Let's get
right.
there. For Johnny Rudo, for JPO, Jordan Persons, thanks for checking out Kayfabe Corner. And as always, you know what to do. Keep it kayfabe.